So we're back with America to Korea. This is episode 21, part 1 of the finale, the two-part finale. We're in the third round with the final missions, and basically it just starts off kind of telling us about how they're in a big broadcasting station for their final stage. It's a huge stage, biggest one they've ever seen. Wow, they are definitely impressed by the stage. You have an MC, Hyun Mo-an, and then you have Gabby of La Chica and also Sunmi of the Wonder Girls guest judging with JYP. There was a funny moment when JYP asked her, "How long ago was it? When was it? When did we work together in that fashion?" And I could see that Sunmi's brain was kind of processing, how do I say this without giving away my age at this point? And she basically was smart enough to say I was 15 at the time. And JYP was smart enough not to try to get a definite answer. But anyways, at this point in the game, they're going to have four performances, two sections of the performance for each part, and they're going to have different team makeup for each performance. And so the number of debut members is still undecided. And at this point, there's also an evaluation happening in terms of their character. And so that's the fourth stone. Apparently has to do with the trainers and the teammates. And I don't know if the judges have a say in it, but apparently Sunmi also communicates with them outside of this. And we'll find out more of that later. But anyways, we basically get past this part into the first team here. And so this is Camilla's team. It's called Team Topic, with Camilla, Savannah, Lexus, and Gina. So this team, they're basically having to focus on energy and stage presence. Because in terms of the song they got from JYP, this is a JYP original. He handpicked these girls to show a defined energy and attitude. And basically, whenever he does that, when he says, "I handpicked this team," that means this team is not going to disappoint him. The other team is the one in danger. That's how it always goes. But he basically says that this song is called "Know Me Like That." He co-wrote it with another person, and the song's basically about rebellious youth. He wants them to show a lot of attitude and energy, and they have to be defined as well. And so when they sung for him, I couldn't tell what was going on. I just heard them sing random things. I don't know how the song's supposed to sound like, but apparently he liked it, and he's like, "It's even better with your voices." And so I feel like he already liked it before they even performed. Now it gets to their practice, and they're basically working a lot on sync. And then there's this odd section here that kind of looks like product placement. So sometimes I see this in like shows where they show the product. They don't even have to really say the name of the product because you're gonna identify it, like how it would look like if it was on the shelf. But that's something they seem to have done. I don't know if maybe it was just for practice. But anyways, Sunmi shows up to their practice eventually, and the girls are nervous and they're slightly confused. I noticed that when she was giving criticism, like I remember her from Girls Planet, and she was definitely more positive here than critical, like she was on Girls Planet. In fact, on Girls Planet, she was kind of intimidating and scary sometimes. But she was speaking Korean rather than English. I noticed she spoke English briefly in the beginning of this episode, but here she basically just spoke Korean, and it seemed like the girls kind of understood it. I mean, I know there's probably a translator off to the side, but it seemed like they reacted while she was mid-sentence sometimes. So that's something that happened, and she saw their whole performance and she thought it was great. She didn't really have a lot of feedback for these girls. But anyways, in terms of their actual performance, I thought the intro, the moves of the very intro were very tight. Like you can see it was going well from the very beginning. In terms of like the song itself, the chorus was okay. But I don't know if Camilla and Savannah, who do the same part of the song, if they seemed off with that kind of, I'm not sure if it's kind of like a really weird kind of puberty, high pitch falsetto kind of section of the song where they have to sing it. They both seemed to struggle on it, or it just sounded weird because that's the way the song is supposed to sound. But I didn't really like that part of the song. But in terms of the performance, I thought that Lexi and Gina were the strongest here. the song itself was slightly phony sounding. It's a bit wordy as well. I feel like it could have been simplified to be less weird. There's something kind of off about the song. But anyways, they get through the whole song, and I feel like definitely Lexi was very stable vocally in terms of I did not notice anything bad from her. And same thing with Gina. And then they had the strong ending pose as well. And so it gets to the end and they all crouch down, and this became the thumbnail of the video. Sunmi, her criticisms were that, well, first she said she was too immersed to take notes. Basically, I'm not sure if she thought she was going to be called upon to give anything detailed, but later on she would say that she wants to dance like Savannah. She said that Gina disappointed her because she used excessive power and looked stiff. In terms of Gabby, she said she was unsure of Lexus until now, but today she was a star. And so it looked like she was going to be critical of Lexus, but she wasn't. She was encouraging of her, and then she then went on to say Camilla was unstable in dance and lacking power, and maybe needed more reach. And I could say that, yeah, I could remember Camilla and Savannah doing a weird vocal, but Camilla during normal parts where it wasn't that weird part of the song, she was kind of shaky as well. So JYP's commentary was kinder, I feel like. He said that it was more than he expected and beyond what he needed. And he said that they delivered for him. He also said that Lexus's dance was great, and he said Savannah's singing was pulled off. And so I disagree with him on the Savannah part, but it could just be that, but the part Savannah was stuck singing was just weird, right? And so that's what happened with Team Topic. There was no stones given out at this point. I feel like that's probably going to come in the final episode tomorrow. And so at this point we just get to see it. And, you know, it was an okay performance. The song was terrible. And I feel like Lexi did really well here. And so we get to the next team. And this is Team Clover with Kaylee, Kendall, KG, and Christina. And basically JYP said this is a kind of half rock, half pop, an energetic team anthem. JYP, he distributed the parts in real time here. I don't know why he was doing it here and not in the other video. But the song is called Go Getter. And he at this point during the distribution, he basically said that KG was capable of hitting this E-flat note that only the lead of girl groups can do. And so he was giving her a compliment there. And I think that was foreshadowing what would happen later on as well. In terms of their practice, the girls were kind of praising KG, not KG, but Kaylee, because she's blunt and she kind of tells you exactly what you need to know in order to improve. And of course, Sunmi shows up as well here. Sunmi, looking fine as hell. Sunmi, more like stun me or sit on me. And I feel like these girls, they were reacting quick to what she said as well. And so I felt like they understood Korean at this point. Maybe they definitely learned enough to kind of just make do. But I don't see a translator. Maybe they're on the far wall shouting it. But I noticed that she was kind of mid-sentence and they heard it here as well. So her tips to them was that she wanted them to bring more energy and work on their closeness. And during this, you can kind of see Christina was starstruck a little bit. But she's usually kind of like emotive in that way. And so maybe it's just the way she is. So it gets to their performance. And to me, it had a slow start. And throughout the performance, I did feel it was sloppy. Like, it was just a little bit loose. And I could understand if, like, hey, they're focusing on having fun and stuff. But, you know, some of these moves could have afforded to be way more tight and, like, in line with each other. Because it was kind of like, there are times that even, like, they're spinning here or they're standing there, it didn't look quite right. Maybe they could have even changed the choreo if it was a problem with the choreo. But that's how I felt about it. And also, I noticed that this song was also wordy like the other ones. And as far as I know, this is also a JYP song. And so, when it comes down to it, I feel like these English songs, they just don't work as well. And honestly, I don't know Korean, so I can't judge Korean on how it sounds in terms of the wordage, but I feel like you need a certain person to. I said this in my other videos as well when I'm reacting to either English parts of songs or even like full English songs from K-pop stars. When I'm reacting to it, I say they need to have a special industry of people who just rewrite music so that it feels right because it's kind of like slightly off, and it's not like anything in particular that you can really like give someone a uh, like some kind of Rosetta Stone on how to perfectly write English lyrics, but it's just something you feel from culturally knowing it, and it's like something is slightly off. And so I feel like they should have simplified this, and they should have simplified the other one way more. But this song, I felt like the chorus was good, much better than the other one, and the rap and talk section was very good as well. Throughout it, I could see that KG was basically carrying the song vocally, because whenever she was on, it actually sounded good. And then I didn't really notice like Kendall doing good, which is kind of funny because JYP would later praise her for doing really well. But I just felt like most of the team was off in terms of being sloppy, like I said. Now, Sunmi, well, let's start with what Gabby says. Gabby says the body details didn't match. And so I guess similar to what I said about them, like not seeming like moving in like in unison. She was saying that they were facing the wrong way. Maybe that contributed to the feeling. And also she said she could feel Christina's nervousness, and so that was like a downer for Christina. And then you get to Sunmi, and she said Kaylee's positive energy spread through the team, but her moves weren't precise. Other than that, her vocals stabilized the team, and so this team seemed to clearly struggle. When it came to JYP, I thought that he might have been nicer to them, but then he basically started going off on them and saying, Christina, you need to not overthink during the performance. Let yourself be free and have fun. He said that Kaylee, she was way too worried about the team, and they actually showed clips of her like checking other people out while she was doing moves. And I guess that was like her as leader being like overly micromanaging them. And then when it came to KG and Kendall, JYP had positive things to say. He said JYP was worried about KG's dance, but she blended in well. And I don't know if that's because everyone else was worse. But he still complimented her, and apparently she's on a upward trajectory. So I don't know. Maybe he can separate it in that way and say, "Oh, she's just on her own. She's good." But I didn't notice anything wrong with KG either. So I would say it's well deserved. He was worried about Kendall's vocals, but I don't know if anyone ever really worried about Kendall's vocals, except for after Alcohol Free. But basically, she said she practiced a lot, got help from trainers and teammates, and they praised her on that stuff. Kendall apparently got the most votes from trainers because of her attitude, and I don't know if that's even surprising because like an introverted person is just naturally going to be kind of like a teacher's pet type, and so I feel like that's just kind of a given. I'm not even sure if that should be like a surprise or something that she should be like crying about, but she did tear up about it, like she was like proud to receive that, but it's not like she got it from her teammates. But I guess it's some kind of consolation. But anyways, at the end of this, JYP, Sunmi, and Gabby, they all chose Topic as the winner. And so I don't know if that means anything, if they were going to get stones for that. But it's actually a definite negative for people who are lacking in stones, and that's mainly Kendall at this point. And so Kendall, if Kendall and Christina both doing bad in this, that's going to pull them way far behind. Who else? Well, considering KG got praise and Kaylee didn't. Yeah, it looks like Kaylee, Christina, and Kendall, with Kendall being in the most danger, are in trouble. And so that is that. Something I have to remember to check off stuff here. Product placement on my bingo card. Okay, so that happened, and I think that's that. I don't think we're gonna win anything by the finale. Unless I want to be really, unless I want to count Pretty Girl Gets a Free Ride or something, and or egotistic bad teammate, wardrobe malfunction. Maybe I'm being too nice in those categories, but I don't think so. I've seen much worse on Mnet shows. But anyways, that is that. And so I guess that's it. That's A2K. Tomorrow is the finale, and it was kind of funny having a Wednesday show because I almost forgot this show was on today. I actually remembered it just like at the last minute because they've been doing it on Mondays and Thursdays. But anyways, tomorrow's the last one. Look forward to seeing it. I think the group could be very small. JYP said at some point it could be 8 or it could be 2 or 3, but it seems like a lot of people are going to be disappointed. Maybe only one person. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a 7-girl group and only one goes home. But I feel like 5's a good number. But honestly, someone asked me in the comment section of the last video, who would you choose, right? And I had to choose between my head and my heart. And in the end, I gave 2 answers based on one or the other. But in terms of like my integrity, I always choose a balanced team. That's the way I do it in Mnet shows, and that's the way I do it here, I guess. And so I try to say who's going to be balanced. So you have to think about what they're capable of. You need all the strong vocalists to move forward in the group. And in this case, it was kind of interesting seeing Lexi do so well. In a way that we didn't really see her do before in terms of her vocals. And so I would say that she's definitely earned her place there. And I was kind of worried about that because she's my top 1. But I didn't put her in the team I thought it would be balanced. But now I feel like she's probably capable of that. And so I'm feeling good about her doing well. Definitely KG is a vocal that I don't think JYP is going to let this group go forward without her in it. In terms of other vocals, I'm surprised that Christina fell like she did vocally. I don't know what that means, but hopefully it's just a bump in the road for her. JYP kind of excused her dancing in this one, saying that she doesn't have balance training like all the other girls in her team on Team Topic, and so to some degree that's kind of like protecting her a little bit. And so I guess that's a cope for Camilla. Was I saying Christina or Camilla? I meant Camilla this whole time. Did I say Christina? I don't remember. Anyways, I guess that's it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next